Hi and welcome to this video. In this video I'll be sharing something personal, in that we had a conflict beginning of this year, and for some reason we struggled to resolve it. We've had conflict in marriage, of course. Now that we've married 4 years, of course we've had conflict here and there, but we mostly have been able to solve our conflicts quite easily and fast. But for this one, we took more than a day to actually solve it, and that's why I want to share, and also not just share the story, but also share some of the things I have picked from this, some of the lessons I picked from this, and basically how to resolve conflict when you're dating or even when you get married. All right. And just before I go to the story, my last 2 videos were a bit off relationships. They were not really on relationships, and I felt I needed to just talk to you, my viewers, the people who have subscribed. I know I've been talking about relationships and all, but once in a while I'll be putting in a video or content that is more on personal development, a bit of motivation, and yeah, such things. Something similar to what I did last week, and I think my third video was on savings. So once in a while, because if you are to create a good foundation for your marriage, then you need to also be a complete person. You need to be complete, you need to be whole, and that would help you be a better partner, right? It will help you be a better person and a better partner. So that's why I want to incorporate once or twice or thrice, you know, along the way. I'll be doing, of course I'll continue doing relationships, marriage and all, but once in a while I will be mixing up with a few of videos on personal development. I hope that's okay with you, and yeah, I hope you'll be blessed as you continue. So now we get to the story of this video. So around, as I mentioned in one of my videos, last year 2023, I took a break from work and I became a stay-at-home mom, which of course took a hit on our finances, because now I was not bringing in any money as I had thought I would. I thought I would leave work and immediately get into business, but as I mentioned before, I did not get into business immediately. So of course now we were feeling a bit of heat, financial heat a bit. So we started discussing and talking about how to move from where we were living to closer to where my husband has been working. Because where we were living is like just 10 minutes walk to my office, my former office, and my husband has to go for to the office. It takes around 2 hours to get to the office. So we felt it made more sense if we moved closer there, because I was no longer working. And we agreed on that. That was around the end of 2023. And we started working on it. I packed everything up. I even told a few people that we were moving, the people I met around that time when we were deciding to move. And we did manage to move at the end of the year. So January, we were now to move, because we had already given a notice end of December that we were moving. So we postponed our notice. Of course, in the place where we live, we postponed. And we told our landlord we were moving, but now we postponed to January 2024. And now when we were having this conflict, it's because I was expecting that we were moving. We had gotten the money to now move, because of course when you're moving you have to pay deposit, you have to pay rent, and then we needed the money to move our things to that place. So of course we needed some extra money than our usual rent. So this time when my husband was to go and now pay deposit, because we had already identified a few houses, and we had identified a few houses, and he was to go and check. So because it's far, we had like chosen several houses with categories. Like we had an option A. In case we found that house had been taken, we would go to option B, and we had option C. So he was to go that morning to go and pay deposit, so that we would move like a day after that or 2 days after that. And then that morning, my husband tells me he thinks we shouldn't move. I honestly, that really, I really felt hurt, because this is something we had discussed. I had packed, like for me, I was feeling like he played a game on me. That is what I was feeling, because he looked at me packing, and you know the way packing is tricky at times. You have to pack every glass on its own, every cup on its own, every plate on its own, all the books, you know, like all the clothes. As in, I had to pack everything. I had packed everything up. I had just left very few things that we were using, the few clothes we were wearing, and the few utensils we were using. I had packed everything. So now at this point, I was feeling like, I have told people that we are moving. How do we are supposed to be living, because we've given a notice in this house. We postponed for 1 more month. As in, it just, I felt like, what is he saying? So, and the fact that he waited to tell me that morning when he was supposed to go pay the deposit, instead of paying, he's telling me he has changed his mind. I felt really, really offended, and it took me time to come around. Like, we didn't talk that day since morning after he gave me that information, and we didn't talk until the next day. So it took us more than 24 hours to actually sit down and discuss. And that is not usual for us, because we are, as I've mentioned, it is, we normally solve conflicts quite easily and fast. But for this one, I felt really, really offended. Like, I was feeling like he took, like, I don't know, he made fun of me. So after that, when around that time, I remember he kept checking up on me. Of course, it's not like there was silent treatment. No, I would cook, serve, ask him, can I serve you right now? You know, we prayed, you know, together to go and sleep. Well, I know people say you should not sleep while you're angry at your spouse, but well, we were angry at each other, but we still prayed, and we went to sleep. But even the next day, he would still keep checking up on me, because I was avoiding him. I was avoiding being around him in the house. So at that time, at one point, he took a walk with our daughter, and she had just turned 1. So they took a walk. They love taking walks. So I remained in the house. I was doing ironing. And as I mentioned in another video, when I'm doing house chores, I'm normally listening to something. So at this time, I was listening to a sermon. I was also talking to God at the same time. I was ironing. I was thinking, because I was really hurting. I was wondering to myself, why do I even continue doing this YouTube thing? Because I'm talking about relationships. At that time, I was mostly talking about dating and all. And I was feeling like, why would I be talking about relationships? And I am struggling. Like, I'm here not talking to my husband. And another thing, the fact that my husband is the one who does the editing for me, I was like, how will we even work together when we're not talking? Like, at that time, I was feeling like we wouldn't be able to overcome. I know it looks like a really, really small thing. But at that time, I was feeling like we might not be able to recover from this. And the fact that we were also feeling a bit of financial wait, because now I wasn't bringing in any money. I was feeling like the better option would be us moving, because when we move, then we would be spending less on his transport. We wouldn't really save on rent, but at least we would have saved on transport. So at least we would no longer feel this weight, financial weight that we were now feeling, because I wasn't bringing in anything home. So because of that, I was feeling like this is the better option. Why doesn't he see this, that us moving will help us financially, you know? So I was feeling all that, and that's why I was feeling like we might not be able to recover from this. I know it looks crazy and dramatic, but that's what I was feeling at that time. So as I listened to this sermon, I just started realizing that my channel actually had value. At that time, I was still asking God, what is this? How do we come out of this? Because there was tension in the house. I could feel the tension was really, really much. And I wanted us to solve this whole thing, because not, talking, and we are used to talking. We have always been talking. Even when I was working, we would talk over lunch breaks. We would talk when either of us was, like for me, I'm walking home, or my husband is walking to the bus stop when he leaves the office. If something happens during the day, we'd be on phone and just say, hey, this is what is happening. Now when I'm at home, I would video call him, so I was now feeling like this tension needs to come to an end. And that is when, as I just prayed, I realized that my husband wasn't the enemy. Our main enemy is the devil, and we are a team. And the fact that I had started considering quitting my YouTube channel and had realized that it had some value, then I knew that this has to be beyond just us having a conflict, right? And it was just like 2 or 3 months after I started the YouTube channel. So I felt, well, then we can just talk and resolve this. And God just worked out. When my husband came back, once our baby went to bed, he was like, you know what, we need to talk. So just sat down and we talked about it. And he explained to me why he felt we needed to stay. But I also explained why I was feeling hurt, because I needed for him to understand that I was feeling hurt, that it's like he had not, I was feeling like he played me, right? To just see me pack and excited to move. Of course, when you're moving to a new environment, new place, and the fact that I was thinking, oh, we will be saving this amount of money, because we would have actually saved quite an amount of money. And I was feeling like he had played me. So I had to help him understand how I was feeling. And he also made it clear that he hadn't really played me, because even he had even told family and friends, a few friends, that we were moving. So it's not like he had anticipated he would change his mind. It's just that he felt convicted that we were to stay. And instead of us going to pay the money for the deposit, he just told me, instead of going, I feel we should stay. And we just talked about it, and we decided, you know what, it's okay. I just agreed, because, well, in conflicts also, as a wife, there's a point where you get to when you decide, or rather I decided, to just let him have the final say as the head of our home, because at the end of the day, whatever happens, good or bad, he still has to take responsibility as the head of our home. So if he felt convicted that we should stay, then we would stay. And we have never left. By the way, we are still in that house. We are still in that place we were in at that time when we were having conflict. So we have not yet moved. at that time I wasn't even getting an understanding why we were not moving. Honestly, it didn't make any sense to me. I'm still trying to make sense of it, but I've seen some of the reasons why God might have allowed us to stay. And the good thing is, within this year, my husband has been allowed to work from home. So not every day, of course. So some days he's home and other days he's at the office. So we've still been able to save some amount of money from him not going to the office every single day. So yeah, that is what happened. And yeah, we were able to just make peace with that. I was able to just unpack. It took me, I think, more than a month, maybe 2 months to unpack, because I was still thinking he might change his mind. He might change his mind and say, hey, let's move now. But he never changed his mind. So I unpacked everything at last, and we have been living here the whole year so far. And yeah, I thank God that he was able to help us solve that. So after that conflict, but then we've not had any conflict that big that we've not talked like for that long. And the fact that he's been home more often, at least now our conflicts, we've been able to solve them even faster. And so I will be sharing some of the things that I learned, or things we can learn from that incident that could help you solve your own conflicts, or even in case you ever find yourself in a place where you are disagreeing a lot. Nobody wants to come down and agree with the other person, how you can go about it, right? And the first one is, you have to communicate. In marriage, you cannot work with silent treatment. And I know when you are, especially when you're dating and newlyweds, it's easy to give your partner the silent treatment. And for ladies, that is very common, where you are just saying everything is okay, but in the real sense, you are not okay. Your partner asks, are you okay? You're like, yeah, everything is fine, but you're not talking to them. You are just silent. You know, that tension that comes with silent treatment. So in marriage, avoid, or if you're in a relationship, just don't have that silent treatment. You have to talk. Your partner is not an angel. They might not be able to read your mind and know that you have a problem. And they might not know why you are mad at them, right? Of course, for this incident, my husband knew why I was mad at him. But he knew it is because he had decided we were not moving. But for me, I was more mad because I felt like he had made a fool of me. So I had to explain to him what I was feeling and why I was feeling hurt, right? So you have to communicate. Then on the other hand, you need to understand your partner and where they are coming from. Someone might be mad on or about something that for you looks very childish and very petty, but you need to understand them and put yourself in their feet and try to understand what they are going through at that point. So my husband understanding me, and the fact that he kept checking up on me, that helped, just cool me down and calm me down and help me know that he was understanding what I was going through. All right. And that helped me just give in to his idea of us staying. The other thing is solve conflicts as soon as possible. You don't have to wait 2 days, 3 days, 4 days to solve conflicts. Once you have disagreed on something, and that's why I think for couples a lot we are told we shouldn't sleep while we are angry at each other. Sometimes it's not possible. You might just have to sleep. Well, those who have been able to not sleep angry, it's okay. Salute to you. But for us, this incident, we slept while we were still angry at each other. But basically, try to solve conflicts as soon as possible. If it's something that you can resolve, just solve it and remove the tension and get back together. Because when you are not talking, when you are angry at each other, you might not be able to perform at your maximum, either in the office or even at home or wherever you're doing, because there's something that you're carrying, especially for ladies, there's something that you're carrying in your head. And when you are angry, you realize that it affects everything all around. You are just agitated, easily agitated because of what you're carrying at the back of your head. The other thing I can pick from this is the man is the head of the home. So just as I've said, I had to give in. I think this was the first incident where I felt that weight of he is the head and he will, of course there are things I've given into, you know, there are other things I've given into when disagreed, and I was like, okay, then we'll go with your final say. But for this one, because it had finances, and for me being an accountant, I really look at finances. If anything, I'm the one who is always writing down our budgets. Of course, we sit down and discuss on our budgets, and I'm the one who would be following up. Have we done this? Have we done that? Even when I was working. And even now when I'm not the one who is bringing the bigger chunk home, you know, like I'm not bringing much money home, I still am the one who is with the budgets. We sit down and budget together, but I'm the one who keeps checking whether we have sorted things out, because that's just the I have a strength in that, right? So the fact that I was seeing finances here in this, I was feeling like my point is making more sense, right? And then I had to give in to his idea, which I felt was not favoring us financially. So this is one point I felt that weight of the man is the head. Like, yes. And for ladies, you just have to at times just go with his decision, because he is the head of the home. And if things work, well and good, he gets the praise and the glory. If things don't work, he gets the blame. He's the head of the home. He made the decision on our behalf. But of course, once he makes a decision, you go with it. And if it doesn't work, it didn't work for both of you. But anyway, yeah, you at times have to just let him have his way, because he is the head of the home. Another thing is, the devil is the enemy. I've mentioned this as I was given this story, but I have to say it as a lesson now. At this point is when it dawned on me that if we're not working together, then the devil can actually take a huge advantage. And something that is very small, like this incident we had, it was very small. Coming to look at it later, it looked very small. It looks very small, but at that point it had been blown out of proportion, because our enemy is the devil. And when we are not working together, nothing can move. If I had not agreed to do as my husband desired, we probably would still be having a push and pull to date, right? But once we decided we would go with his decision, I have seen God, come through for us. Like, for example, him having not to go to the office every day, we've been able to save some amount of money, right? So at least that worked out. And I still continued doing my YouTube channel. I did not close it, because we are still working together. We are a team. So knowing who the devil is, then who the enemy actually is. My spouse is not the enemy. He has the best interests, like he has our best interest at heart. He's doing everything for us, right? So understanding that helped me know who to fight. Not my husband, but the real enemy. And that came as a result of my next point, which is you need to pray. If you're feeling very hurt and offended, first talk to God. Be vulnerable. Because for me, if I had not talked to God, I think I wouldn't have had this thought that the enemy is not my husband, it's the devil, right? So talking to God and being vulnerable before God helps you to just get the big picture. It also helps to soften your spouse. If you need to maybe talk about something, you can pray to God to just touch their hearts and help them understand you, help them understand where you're coming from, you know. So God helps us. So you need to pray and be very true to God, before God. Don't go there and pretend before God. God knows everything. So just be real. I'm feeling very hurt. I'm feeling very offended. I'm feeling he has done this, she has done this. I'm feeling this person is not understanding me, you know. And God now starts helping you get over it. The other thing, even in conflict, the constants have to continue being done. For example, the fact that I was mad at my husband and he was also angry with me. The fact that we were going through all this, I still cooked. He still ate, you know, he was eating and we prayed and, you know, we did the normal things. The only thing we were not doing is sitting down and just chatting, because we do that a lot. Even when I was giving our story, how we met and all, one thing that I said is we would stand at the bus stop and talk up to like 11 p.m. You know, like just talk and talk, 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. and just talk and talk and talk. So us talking has been something that we always do. So when there's tension, we struggle to talk. But we continued doing the things that we do. In fact, there's a couple I had their story, and they were saying when they had at one point when they had conflict, they still went and showered together, because that's one of their constants. They shower together every evening. So for couples, this is one thing I have learned, and even from this incident, one thing I picked, that constants have to continue being done. I still did clothes, I still did dishes, I still ironed, you know, I still did the things I need to do as a wife, and he also did the things he needed to do as a husband, right? So there are constants that have to continue being done, even as you try to resolve the conflict. You don't put your life to a standstill and now you can't do anything just because you're mad at each other. From what I've just said, one person has to calm down. At the end, I'm the one who came down, right? I'm the one who said, all right, we'll go with your decision and we will go as you say. But during the process, my husband is the one who came down. I was so angry at him. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to sit with him even in the living room. And I was avoiding him in the house. So he's the one who came down. He kept checking up on me. He'd come and see me and he's like, are you okay? How are you? Of course, I'd be like, how can you even ask me whether I am okay? When you know what you've just done, and he'll just get, okay, leave me alone, go, you know, maybe take a walk, come back later and ask me, how are you doing? Are you okay? You see, he went down, and so we couldn't, you know, have that heated argument because he was down. Then now when I calmed down and I just was at that level, then we had a discussion, we sat down, I had made peace with what was happening, and now we were able to talk. So one of you has to go down. If one person is going up, the other goes down. When this person goes down, now you can go up or just meet down there, right? So one of you has to go down. And that leads me to our last point, which is challenges come to make us better. From that incident, we've not fought as we did. Like, we've not had a long argument or a long period where we've not come together and solved a conflict. So whenever we have a disagreement, we solve it like ASAP. You know, like for me, once I start getting offended, maybe because my husband is being playful in the house, or because he likes being playful, and sometimes I start getting agitated, I just say it there and then. I don't wait to carry that with another offense and another one, and then it becomes a whole big thing, right? So it has helped us solve conflicts easily and quite faster, because we now know, I know he has us as a family at the top of his head, like he wants the best for us. He knows I want the best for us. So because we know we are working together as a team, then our conflicts have changed. We are no longer disagreeing as much. So that incident might have been big, but it helped us become better in conflict resolution. I hope you have picked 1 or 2 things that you can use in your own relationship. And I hope to see you in the next video, which will be talking about our 4th anniversary, because we just celebrated 4 years in marriage. So some of the lessons we have picked, I'm hoping to host my husband, hopefully. So look out for that video, and God bless you, and see you in the next. Don't forget to subscribe and like our video. God bless you.